Welcome everybody to Movie Club. I'm Ian Elliott-Carter.
Jeremy Branch.
And
I was
Alex
a little
Hampton.
sorry to step on you, Alex. I was a little overexerted on my part. We'll leave it in, but it was a little like it involuntarily came out of me. But I feel good about it. We'll leave it.
All right, and this episode is sponsored by anxiety. Don't let that take hold of your life. Just go in there, dive deep into it, and just go.
When your symptom is your personality. That's just
Absolutely.
a shame.
That is what it is. That's what draws us all together. So this week we are doing the movie Bora. Bora was a recommendation from Alex. This is a movie that we had to find. I think it was also available on Amazon Prime, but we found this one on Tubi. As soon as Alex said find it on Tubi, I said, oh God.
Here we go.
But you can find some gems on Tubi. Don't sleep on Tubi. Don't let the stigma of Tubi scare you away, because there's some good stuff on there. There's also some funny bad stuff.
Okay. So of all bitches you could have been with? Of all the bitches on earth, this is the bitch you gonna live with. This bitch right here.
Chloe, I ain't talked to you in 5 years. What you expect me to do?
Wait for me like you promised?
Sweetheart,
You promised!
Sweetheart, promises are made to be broken.
Yo! Chloe! What the fuck, Chloe?
I'm just a kid.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
So if you're in the mood to just turn your brain off and watch some wild stuff, watch some Tubi movies. But this one's called Bora, directed by Tiffany Tooney, and it was also starring Tiffany Tooney as well. And the other person was her name is Queen Amaja, I believe that's her name. Oh, first name is Queen. I love it. This is about a naive college grad that takes a road trip to find herself. She meets up with a mysterious girl who seduces her down a path of temptation. Ooh, who hasn't been there before? Who hasn't been seduced down a path of temptation? My son when he sees chocolate, for sure.
That's very wholesome. Yeah. Ian and I, we were talking a little bit before we started recording back and forth on Messenger, and there's kind of a subgenre that these movies belong to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you mentioned Collateral. And
Collateral, very underrated movie. And when you said Training Day, I was like, oh, I didn't even dawn on me that this was basically kind of like that too.
When you think about the archetype, it's like a duo. It's the naive person that's being exposed to a corrupt or a criminal underbelly by kind of a mentor figure that also ends up being the antagonist of the story. Right. There's a lot of examples of it, but those were a couple that I came up with when I was kind of going through notes.
I feel like that right there, what you're getting at is, and I don't know what the trope would be called. I know like you do a good job of like naming the trope of the movie. So I think you found you a full-time job in this one. Because
all right.
You hit it on the nail perfectly. But there's also the trope of like, and spoiler alerts. Of course, if you're in the movie club, you're gonna hit spoilers. But like, there's also that trope were they there the whole time? You know, you got the Sixth Sense stuff, and you have what's a Fight Club? You season 4 if you watch that.
Fight Club is a really good example. I actually didn't think of that one. There's a French horror movie, kind of in the French extreme genre called High Tension. That's a kind of similar situation. That's even more specifically like this one and Fight Club, I think, are right nailing it on the head. Sixth Sense, the twist is a little bit different, but Fight Club is like a Fight Club and Training Day, or Fight Club and Collateral. You mix those together and you kind of have what this movie is conceptually.
That's interesting. That's a good mix.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get to the meat of it, man. Let's talk about let's review, because I got a lot of things to say, and it's mostly positive, but I do have some negative. I think Jeremy's on the other side of that. Let's actually start with Jeremy. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on this movie?
Oh yeah, let me just come out of the gate and say, Tubi is an interesting streaming service. For one thing, it's free, so a lot of people have access to it. You can find everything from like, there's what's called like movie night as one of the subcategories, where you'll find like I guess AAA releases, the big budget movies, the well reviewed movies that everybo's seen. you'll also see like cult classics. Like I love to go on Tubi and watch a bunch of like low budget Italian horror films. Like I watched Killer Crocodile 2 the other night. There's this really great scene where they're in the Amazon River or something. It's like a nun and a bunch of children, and this crocodile knocks over the thing and starts eating everybody. But it's like this big silly looking puppet crocodile. So I say that to say you'll find the whole entire spectrum of movies on there. And the fact that Bora was able to get a release on Tubi is incredible.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of movies that you see that are boring. And I will say that Bora is not a bore. It was actually really entertaining. I enjoyed watching it all the way through.
Get this man out of here. What was Bora?
Come on, dude. Let's go. Let's go.
I love it. I'm just playing with you. That was funny. You're ready to be a dad.
Yes. I thought it was funny, and I don't know that it's supposed to necessarily play as funny, but I got a kick out of it. I think you're watching this movie, and as we kind of alluded to, you can compare it to other things, and then when it gets to the end, you can compare it to other things. But never throughout the movie did I realize that I was watching this other thing. And if you think about it too much, which I think at one point one of the characters says, like, don't think about it too much, which is probably for the better, because the whole conclusion, it just don't make any sense, man. It doesn't make any sense. How? What? Okay. But it was fun. It's got like a kitschy flavor to it. There's a ton of well-known actors in it. I heard you and Alex talking about it before I joined in on the conversation. Mm-hmm. Like there's a bunch of faces that you know. Not a lot of actor names that I knew, but Gooding is in it.
Yes, Omar Gooding from Smart Guy.
Yes. Yeah. Beloved classic, Smart Guy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a lot of faces that you see throughout it. It's this interesting project where like a lot of times the videography is pretty good. Like the camera work looks pretty good. The color grading's pretty solid. The audio is rough, man. Sometimes they're like, you can hear the background noise, and then you'll hear where they cut it to like eliminate the background noise, but it doesn't mix together real well. Some of the editing is really choppy. Like there's some scenes where you're in the car with the two primary characters, and then you're in the car with these two guys that are approaching them. And it like, I don't know, it's really not subtle editing. Like you feel those bumps in it. But despite some of the kind of budget limitations and probably what I would assume is like, inexperience, I think they made a better movie than I would have made. I'll say that. And I know that's setting the bar super high, but I had fun with it. I'll talk a little bit more about my feelings, but that's kind of a kickoff point for my thoughts on it.
That's a good summary. And before I even give my criticism to, I probably should have asked this in the beginning. Alex, was this her first actual movie?
This was her first movie she produced. Yes.
Okay. Because so like when you see like a low budget movie and you I want to like make sure like my criticism, you give certain criticisms to certain people that are on certain levels. If Quentin Tarantino did this, oh my God, his career's over. Now, if this was his first movie though, you're like, okay, not bad. Not bad. You know what I'm saying? So like your criticism is based on where you're at in the industry, I feel. So I definitely had to ask that question before I just go all in on this person, but
I should have done that too. My bad.
Oh, and my second question too is I wonder if the production crew or the director has done music videos, because one of my critiques, and I'll talk about it more in my personal review, is like it felt like a lot of the times this was a music video.
Bro, sometimes, she is feeling herself. There are like 5 minutes her just slow walking with the music playing where it looks exactly
even
like
the cars, the way they're moving and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, am I watching a music video or a movie right now? I don't know. Yeah. But you can tell if that's what she did in the past, or even someone that did the camera work, you could tell that's where they're coming from, is that's what they did before this. Because if it was a music video, very good music video, by the way. You don't see music videos like that since like the 90s or 2000s. But it just sometimes it did take away from the movie for me. I'm just like, the scene is playing a little too much. You're going in too much on the music. But let me just wait on my review. Alex, give a non-biased review. I know that you have a little bit of a connection to this.
So I watched this movie again. When I first saw it, like Jeremy, I will agree. You can feel the bumps in the editing. You can definitely feel the bumps in the editing. You can feel how the mix in terms of the noise and the audio, it's not mixed properly. So when I first that first scene where you see the girl, but I guess bump into Bora in the traffic scene. That
Right.
scene alone, it didn't really, whatever it was trying to capture, it didn't suck me in initially because there were so many things going on that kind of took me out of it. So, but overall, as we see her progress in the movie, as you have this random person in your car, telling you where to go and going to these different things, it's interesting. One, it's interesting to see, after that first incident, as a Black woman, why are you still with this individual?
I thought that 17
We
times
all
in
thought
the movie, bro.
I'm like, why? Why are you? Why? You don't know. You had ample time to get away. But I'm not gonna spoil it just yet. But as we get to the end, we obviously see there's a twist at the end.
I'm with you though. Many times I'm just like, girl, if you don't get out of there, why?
Right. Now there was some one of my favorite scenes is actually there's a scene where they go, I think, to a party and they're like dancing and it's I do like how that scene was shot because there is an altercation between Bora and another character that she was dealing with. My favorite, I'm not gonna lie, my favorite scene is the scene in the gas station where she's talking to Omar and she's stealing from the gas station. That was really shot really well. I would think that in LA, because everybody has guns in LA, I wouldn't be chasing her with a bat. I'd be shooting her as she's trying to run out the store, But
you're gonna shoot a woman in the back for shoplifting?
You
Damn,
absolutely
Alex.
right. Yes. And not to give too much away, but I felt like, and maybe it's because of the climate that we were in when the movie came out, and even now, that whole getting stopped by the police scene, I kept feeling like it was very typical, not really needed in the movie. Not something that I felt. I mean,
right.
And my thing is, if I'm the driver and my passenger just left to go deal with the police officer, why aren't you freaked out that the police car is just stationary right there as you're driving off? I would be asking so many questions. And in this movie, because it's so baffling, it doesn't answer a lot of questions and it doesn't make sense because the way it ends, you go back and question, okay, well, how was she able to do all of these things?
Mm-hmm.
And it ended in the way that it ended. And so, but for me, overall, I think it was one thing I will say positive is that it was a good cohesive story from beginning to end. However,
yes,
in the story, there are some plot holes that are very noticeable. And I think if she had a little bit more time writing and basically making that script a little bit more cohesive, I think the payoff at the end would have been much bigger. Because even when I saw it, I was like, really?
Yeah.
My response would have been different if it would have been better. Because I was like, how did that happen? But
it's like in the script writing process, once you get to the end, then you go back to the beginning and you do things to make it make sense. Like you find a way to reverse engineer it to where it could actually have. I mean, we've kind of already buried the lead. Like it's one of those stories where the antagonist and the protagonist are the same person. So like there's once you get to that, and that's probably how she conceptualized it, and then go backwards and be like, well, in this scenario, maybe she walks out of the room and at this point, and then the other one comes back in. There's just like, if they would have left breadcrumbs along the way, where at the end you're like, oh, that all of a sudden makes sense.
Yeah,
it would have been a greater payoff. But Alex, to your point, where and Ian, you even agreed that like there are a lot of times when you're like, why doesn't she leave? Well, this is the answer to why she doesn't leave. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And I think that is kind of a good payoff. On on the positive real quick, I didn't hit it, and then Ian obviously will pass it over. There's a lot of varied locations. Like this movie is very LA. You get
Definitely.
desert, you get club, you get interiors of houses, you get busy streets, you get secluded streets. There's a bunch of vehicles in it that they were able to get access to. So like it's a polished production in a lot of ways. Like we mentioned, there's a lot of different cast members and stuff in it. I don't know how she was able to kind of go and put all of this together, but like it's a pretty substantial production. I watch horror movies that are done with way less locations, way less people involved and all that kind of stuff. So like props for that as well. Anyways,
and I think Alex also said that this costed less than $100,000 to make.
Whoa!
Yeah, this was $4,900.
So yeah, so that right,
$4,900.
$4,900.
That's amazing.
And I will say, because to your point where we find out that the antagonist and the main character are the same person, there's a scene where Bora is, I guess, talking to the guys that she talks to in the car, and she's basically having sex with him while the other one's talking to the guy outside of the car. I'm like, okay, if you're the same person, were you having sex and talking to the guy at the same time?
100%.
Like, what's
I can't wait to go in on that. Seriously,
let's go.
I've been waiting to talk about that. Yes, yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, for sure. Let me just say that I was very surprised. Like within the first 5 to 10 minutes, I was like, this is gonna be trash, because I was like, I was not. It really it felt the low budget part of it. I didn't understand the music's not working, and it just seems like they were just going all in on just music. I was like, okay, this reminds me of that new M. Night Shyamalan movie where it's just like he's promoting his daughter's music. It really just felt like they're promoting music videos here. But then when you get to meet Bora, the movie kind of starts, and I'm immediately intrigued. It kind of drags me in because she's like some type of Captain Jack Sparrow figure. You're like, she's very
cool, man. Good call.
Oh, for sure. She's very mysterious. We've met before. I give my review too. I'm sure Alex could probably relate to this more than Jeremy, but like, Jeremy, you remember that book, To Give a Mouse a Cookie?
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
So in high school, you don't remember that?
No, I don't think I read it.
You never read it. You can make it out a cookie. Oh man, that's before your time or after your time. I know Alex read that book, right? To Give a Mouse a Cookie.
I do remember the book, but I do not remember the context of the story.
This is why I like the movie, because I can relate a little bit to it. So the movie, to the book, To Give a Mouse a Cookie, it's like, hey, if you give a mouse a cookie, he's gonna ask for some milk. If you give him some milk, he's gonna ask to go to bed. You know, there's always something that the person's gonna want. So in high school, my mom's here, so I gotta make sure I edit what I'm about to say. I wrote a poem called "If You Give a Negro a Ride, He's gonna ask to go to the store."
No, Ian, you have no idea how much I can relate with this, dude. My story.
You get what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah. If you give my younger brother a cigarette.
God.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
So yes, as soon, because I wrote this in high school, I was like, it had those elements of like, because it was based off of that book. It's gonna lead you all around town. It's gonna drive you crazy. It's it's just like, you might as well just not give this person a ride, because it's just gonna bring more stress to your life. So whenever I saw like where this was going in the movie, it really brought me back to high school when I used to give people rides that didn't have cars and stuff like that, and it would just lead me all these places. Like, oh my God, I should have just said no to this person. Like, it's just so stressful. Like, yo, why am I over here? I want to be home. So it reminded me of this poem I wrote. If you give a Negro a ride to the store, give a Negro a ride, he's gonna ask to go to the store. He's gonna ask for blunt, all this other stuff. So with that being said, that's why I kind of like this premise a lot, because it did remind me of that. So
Will you please make a animated video version of that play in the or that poem that you wrote in the future?
I think so, man.
We can get back to this. All right, because that's
really,
hilarious.
Ian,
it did. But it was shot really well, and I think for the most part, I think she had a good idea of the script. I think she wanted to blend in a little bit of like the Day of the Dead stuff, you know, trying to make it a little mythology of it, but also have this type of like twist, I guess. The reason the twist didn't work, and that was the biggest issues I have with this movie is, of course, it's shot like a music video at times, and the twist just did not work at all for me. Not that I saw it coming, it was just like, really? Everybody's like, really, at the end? Because when we talk about Flight Club or what's another example? Like we said, The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
You go back, they're not technically talking to other people. You know, they're in crowded places, and you're just like, you just think, oh, this person's part of society, this person's here. But like when it actually has you go back questioning your own logic, and you're like, oh, he didn't talk to this person. Oh, he really only engaged with this person. The reason this doesn't work is this girl's talking to everybody. In fact, there's scenes where the girl's not even there and she's talking to people. And that doesn't make any sense at all. And like, okay, so it's one thing if you're going to be like a schizophrenic person and like imagine someone else is there, that's one thing. But if you're going to warp reality and like have situations where people are responding to an imaginary person, then that's beyond crazy, and it just doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work narratively for me. So that's why I just think it just didn't work. I think she tried, though. I think she wanted to be on that level, but it's just like Jeremy said, you probably should have went one more time to the drawing board with the writing. It could have worked. I see where she was going with it. I see like it could have worked if she might have touched it up a little bit, but like the fact that she's like, especially the store, she's making friends, like she's going to specific places where this girl would have no idea who these people are. These people are responding to this person like they know each other, have a past, like, oh, she's a part of this gang, stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense if she's not a real person, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's why it just did not work for me, the landing. But I'm going to say that just for like one of her first movies and just how it's shot and the performance of the main character, what was her name? Tiffany something or
Tiffany Tony.
Tiffany Tony honestly did a very good performance. I wasn't the biggest fan of the other girl's performance. I think it was kind of basic, but Tiffany's performance, you know, she was, like Jeremy said, she was definitely feeling herself. Like she was kind of reminded me of when we were talking about Bird the other day. It was like a mythical creature, just came out of nowhere, doesn't care about, you know, what people think about her, and just like, yeah, one of those people just like, yo, she stands out in the crowd. And I thought she did a really good job with that. And she did legit scare me at times too. Like her performance was there was some performance. I'm like, oh my god, she's getting real graphic.
It's funny, when I was reading the synopsis, it says like the main character meets a stoner named Bora and her life goes out of control or something. And I feel like there's some kind of like after school special energy. It almost plays like a PSA, like weed being a gateway drug. It's like, if the thing that's notable about Bora is that she's a stoner, our priorities are all out of whack, because like that is so far down the totem pole of problems that Bora has, dude. Like she's literally smoking out of that glass pipe like the entire movie, and it's kind of like, is this an anti-weed PSA? I don't really know. Is it talking about the way that weed will give people schizophrenia? Kind of. So there are like, you know, papers that have been done on that and research that's been done on that. So like that crossed my mind. I got to ask, do you think that the racial dynamic has any significance past just being like, let's have Latino and a black girl in the movie? Is it saying something more about that? Did it handle it well? Do you got any thoughts on that part of it?
So when I interviewed Tony, because she let me see parts of the movie before it came out, she said she wanted to highlight the black Mexican areas in Los Angeles that are not necessarily highlighted in other like movies or shows at that time. But she said that like most of the music and the big cars that you see, that the part of LA that she lives in, that's Los Angeles. That is the culture down there. And even Bora's character, like people dress like that. You dress like that. They talk like that.
Parties, oh yeah, it's very East LA for sure.
Right.
Definitely,
That party scene is a direct representation of what happens every day. That every day in that community of people who have parties like that. So I know from firsthand that was the intention. Now, whether if it came off that way, I think it was kind of obvious to an extent, but I can see how certain people can miss it because it's like obviously Black/Hispanic director is going to put Black and Hispanic people in her movie.
That for sure. That I was interested in the way that the Bora was almost protective over. I would never do this to a Black girl. I would never do that to a Black girl. Which obviously, as it being an extension of her, makes sense.
Makes more
and
sense.
obviously, the director of the movie wouldn't like intentionally do something that mischaracterized Latino people, you know, in general. But I was just, it's kind of like she is in a lot of ways the archetypal Boricua fiery Latino girl who will cut your ass. You know what I'm talking about?
Definitely.
So
yes.
I got a kick out of that, man. I do think that ultimately it was entertaining. I feel like, Ian, you made a good point. It's like we kind of do tend to hold different people to different standards when it comes to experience, when it comes to budgets, when it comes to all these things. When you just now told me, Alex, that this thing costs $5,400, it
very impressive.
Forces me to reassess a lot of the things that I said, because it's incredibly impressive. Like I said, they were all over the place and geographically and didn't keep it locked down in one area. It did feel like you're driving around in LA. And I feel like David Ayer's sensibilities kind of played into this a little bit. Like I could feel a little bit of what he did with Training Day, but also like End of Watch and other movies that he's done. So like, I respect it. I definitely think it was silly at the end of the day. I laughed at things that probably I shouldn't have been laughing at.
Like that is what he said, because that scene, the first guy she stabs at the pool.
So funny, bro.
Oh, yeah. That might have been one of the funniest parts. He's like, oh, man, if I knew it was this type of party, I would not have kicked that other girl out.
Exactly. And I'm like, bro, like you at first you come out pissed and all because now you see her dripping wet, your whole mind changes. Nah, get the hell out of my house.
He caught a kitty in the peripheral, bro.
Yes, he did. No, he got racist real quick too. He was just like, "What are you Black girls doing in my house?" Oh, it's that kind of party. Well, come on back.
And that guy is from like he was in Goodfellas. That actor had a small bit part in Goodfellas.
Oh, I did not know that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, as I was looking at the IMDb, I'm like, because the guy I recognized right off the bat was the bouncer at the club.
Yeah, that was Hector.
That's Hector, yeah.
The guy. Well, I don't know if that's his real name, but like, there's this running joke that like every movie he's played Hector. He was like in the Fast and Furious.
Yeah, that's the dude.
Yeah.
The
first one, and I think he came back for 8 for like a small cameo.
That's cool.
But like the joke was like every movie, like even if his name's not Hector, he's basically playing the same type of person. Yeah, I think he was actually in Training Day as well. He's in that scene. He was. So, but I recognized him immediately. I was like, oh snap, it's Hector. Oh man, you know what's crazy is I don't that the beginning scene with the boyfriend and the music, and I don't know if that symbolized something of like that was turning on like her inner demon or something like that. But I feel like that might have been like unnecessary. Like because like the movie was like it got your attention, it was entertaining between like whenever she picked up Bora to the end and it circled back to this moment. Like honestly, all these events could have happened and that scene could not have been part of the movie, and it probably I would have had the same reaction and same thoughts, because I honestly forgot that guy was even in the movie or who he even was. And like it could have just been a girl on a road trip and just going crazy, honestly.
And that was my thing. The one thing the movie made me question is that okay, if you want us to make us to believe that she's been Bora all along,
right?
Well, who was this person that she was pretending to be? Like, was that her subconscious of her normalcy?
Yeah, she kept saying like, "Oh, I'm a good girl. I'm a college girl." You know, in her head, she's just putting out the most innocent type of person that you would think somebody was.
Right.
And
and then at the end to ask Bora, "Are you real?" Like, what? Like, what?
The mask was kind of cool.
That kind of low key pissed me off.
You know, yeah, the mask. And here's the thing too. Here's another positive. Like, I think Tiffany's performance, like, it could have been very iconic. Like, that performance and the way she portrayed that character was so good. I feel like I would watch that again in a sequel. And the mask to me was very iconic. Like, if you would have, tied this into some Day of the Dead type of mythology and like, made this like some type of like Chucky movie or like Jason, where this person keeps coming back, recurring. I feel like it could have been a decent like type of franchise. But it seems like it's obviously a one and done type of like, this girl's crazy. That's it. I don't know. What else?
Yeah.
What else
If you would take a second shot at this, either A, sequel, or B, a remake, I think I would go in the remake direction. And to your point, man, if it leaned into like the horror aspect of it a little bit more and a little bit more of like some sort of mysticism kind of stuff, and still kept like the crime elements, but leaned into something a little more like Nicholas Winding Refn, like who did Only God Forgives and Drive and those kind of movies, Neon Demon, where it's like even more esoteric and even more weird. Give her $1 million to make it, let her return as the role of Bora, and the mask play like a more significant role in it. I think there's something really interesting there.
There definitely is. And don't let it be a split personality. Just let her be a crazy girl wandering the streets.
Yeah.
Or if they're gonna go the split personality horror route, let Bora be like a possession. Like she was like what if Bora was real, died, and then took over this girl's body? Like, let it be something because the mask, I think the mask was the whole mask thing, I think was just for the Day of the Dead type of thing.
For sure. It's a dope mask though.
Right. But it had no significance of the actual movie.
Yeah, it's just she just put it on. But I think, obviously just because of her heritage and like, her knowing a little bit about that history, I feel like that's why it was brought in. But like, if you would have combined those two worlds and make it something from where it is. Yeah.
But it wasn't the black girl's heritage, right?
It's not. No, I think she said she was actually Cuban.
Yeah.
There was a scene where she's all like, I'm black, but I'm actually.
I didn't catch that. Okay, so then it is tied to her culturally as well.
Kinda. The Day of the Dead is more of a Mexican thing, though.
Yeah, that's actually valid.
Yeah, that's true.
So even regardless of her being black or Cuban, it's still like not her heritage. But
that's a good point.
Yeah, that's and this is the thing about the movie. Like I said, I think it's a good movie with problems, and that's my review. And
I think it's a bad movie with good aspects. That's
and that's the other coin of sun. I can understand why you say that.
Yeah.
So
Alex,
let's give our reviews. What do you think?
I think it's a pretty decent movie for the first time with a lot of plot holes. There's just a lot of plot holes. Like you said, that beginning scene of her waking up next to that dude, we don't see that at all at throughout
not
the
even
whole
brought
movie.
up again.
Exactly. Like you could have just cut that out. And then
it's the same movie.
And for me personally, like I said, like I agree with Jeremy. The whole edit, it's like remember how you were taught to like edit on Windows Movie Maker, and you visibly saw the mistakes that people would make. That's how I was watching this movie, where you obviously see where they cut and where they changed cameras, and that really took me out of the movie. But other than that, as far as a story, I do think the story is interesting. There's definitely something there, but I'm not gonna lie. I think at the end, that's where a lot of audience members go like, "What the hell did I just watch?" Like, because this doesn't make no sense. And then what they try to do is insult us by showing us playbacks of Queen.
Switching the whole scene up. Like, this is actually what happened. It didn't work for me.
It didn't work for me.
It still don't make sense. No,
it still doesn't make sense because you warped reality. It's not like that she was there and then nobody actually saw her. No, you were talking to this girl. She went to the bathroom and you were still talking to this girl. She was there. I'm not crazy. You're crazy. And of course, like I said, another aspect I didn't like was like it kind of, there was times that, especially after they went from the store, was like it was felt like a music video. There's times, not even Bora looking at the camera. There's times there's people in the show or in the movie that are looking at the camera. Like, I remember when the cars are riding, there's this guy looks straight at the camera and smiles like it's a music video. And even like in the and I was just like, are we doing a movie here? Why are you looking at the camera? You just break the fourth wall to stun on me? Okay, I know I can't afford a car like that, but come on, you don't have to rub it in.
I'm gonna take the other stance on the music. With the $5,400 budget, I feel like what she did that's really cool is obviously put over a group of musicians that probably don't have major record labels. And it was an eclectic style of music. There was like, I mean, everything from like reggaeton to like almost like indie rock kind of alternative music in it. And like, so there was a lot of different styles of music in it, which I think is cool. I didn't recognize any of them, and some of them were pretty whack. So, you know, it's like, I'm going to pick this song because I like it. I'm going to pick this song because I like it. I'm going to pick this song because you're my friend, and I'm going to put you on and get you in a movie. And that's cool. I got to give it up to anybody who's willing to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely, support smaller businesses, smaller like unknowns and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, that's what she was doing with this movie. So of course you would do that with the music around it too.
Bro, I gotta drive home also. There's no way in hell I could have made this movie. So again, being critical of it is the easiest thing to do in the world.
No,
Going
for sure.
out and making movies is hard.
You got to be fair with your criticism, because like I said, like for the most part, I could relate to a little bit of this. That's why I busted out laughing, and that's why I immediately started liking it. I think she understands the element of horror and thrill, especially thrill. I think that there's just some things when it comes to the writing part that she has to work on, but that's the part of the process. Like, you have to have your first movie. You know, can everybody come out the gate like Ryan Coogler? You know, and then it eventually.
Yeah.
But I feel like if she keeps at it, man, she made it. To me, if a lot of people saw that character could be iconic. Like, she has a lot of potential. Like, she could be something. Seriously, like she knows how to write, but she should go back to the drawing board at times. So I'm gonna give it a 6, just for like how she used the budget. Like Jeremy was saying, just like that is very impressive. That's better than I could do. And you know, the writing and the performances of especially Bora herself. Yeah. Now, if we're going to do a twist and thriller type of movie, we got to make sure it makes sense, though. Okay, there you go. You flew the plane and you crashed at the end, but you got up there though. I can't get a plane up there. So, like, take that as a compliment. You got the plane up there. You almost got to the destination, and then you land. Yeah, that.
Bro, she designed the plane. She built the plane. She flew the plane. She stewardesses the plane, and she did all of those things. And that's the trouble, the blessing of the curse of being able to do a lot of things pretty good and not having a lot of resources is if it all falls on you, you'll just take on that burden. She could have brought in a friend to write another draft of the script. She could have said, here's my draft. Please go over this, because she did really good work in front of and behind the camera. Whoever did the sound on it, not quite as, like there were, but if you're trying to wear every single hat, it's going to be hard to get and with a budget of less than
100,000 too, like, it seems like, I don't know, just me. I'm always very anxious to put something out. So maybe that's what her mindset might have been as well.
Yeah. And like, here's an example. Like when I did the Plunge documentary, I took on all of that stuff myself. Somebody else could have probably edited it better. But I didn't have the means of paying somebody to edit it better. Here's another example. Ian created a comic book. He outsourced the art for the comic book because he knew what his strengths were. He identified them. He utilized them. And when he didn't think that he could do as strong of a job on illustration, he passed it off to somebody else. And I think that's also a really important part of being a creative, is knowing your own strengths and your own weaknesses and being willing to relinquish control every once in a while to get a superior product. So I feel like she might have tried to do too many things when she could have leaned on other people.
That's probably what it was. We can't speak for her, but I definitely could. If that was the case, I could definitely see that.
4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. What you got, Alex?
I would have to give it. I'd probably have to give it about a 5 out of 10 as well. I will say because like you guys were saying, she did wear a lot of hats, and I know talking to her personally, like she was up all night with one of her editors trying to edit it all together. And she even, she admits it's not really her strong suit, was she put some of her own editing to the project as well, which, when you are doing something, for yourself and you're putting something out, everything is on you when you don't have the money to delegate and put things out. And then also, when you brought up how Ian outsourced for a creative, if you don't know that person too well to outsource like Ian did, that takes a lot of trust, especially for your own personal project. And so for her, I don't really think outsourcing for her, I'm not sure was I guess an option for her, unfortunately. But I will say, what she had, it was an amazing project. In terms of what she was able to put together. Again, I would give it a 5 out of 10. I would recommend anyone who's making movies, watch this movie because
inspired me.
Yeah, like it's a crash course to say, like, listen, it don't matter what the budget is, you can make your movie. Now we're getting to a point now. I mean, we've been at this point at least for the last 10 years where people are shooting their movies on iPhones.
Yeah.
So so at this point, there's really no excuse for people who want to make a project. Trust me, it is out there. There are people who've made films for like $700. I wouldn't recommend such a low budget. If you have more money, put some more money.
You gotta know what you're doing with $700.
But you gotta know what you're doing. There's a movie I think called Lemon that was shot all on an iPhone, and it looks that way too. It's shot all on an iPhone, but the mixing, the editor, and the DP looks all really good on it. So for me, I would say great story. I see where she was trying to go, and I was engaged with some of the scenes. Some of the scenes I laughed at when I probably shouldn't laugh at, but I would give it a 5. Definitely recommend it. And I was really eager to see what you guys thought about this movie. So I'm glad to hear it from you guys.
I'm going to say this in terms of favorite reviews for the movie club that we've done. This is my favorite one so far.
Okay.
No, this is a fair one, man. This is a fair one. Seriously, and this is what it's about. Like, not even just like, I like it, I hate it. Like, no, we broke down what we liked and what we hated, and I respect everybody's point of view on it, and I definitely get it and understand it. All right, well, if you watched this movie with us, Bora, let us know what you thought. Let us know your review. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you love it? What did you think of the characters? And hey, at the end of the day, props to this lady for having such a low budget, and just elements that worked for me. Just the ending, just like, oh, what happened there? But I respect any creative doing their thing. It actually inspired me to want to do something like that. So yes, let us know in the comments, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Much love, peace, and chicken grease.
Leave it to you, Ian.
Are you a homosexual, Ian?
Hey, Ian.
Ian's here.
Don't pick me up, Ian. This is embarrassing.
Ian.
Ian.
Ian.